Hey parents, how's it going? Being a homeschool parent, it's not easy, is it? Who would have ever thought that this would have happened and your kids would be home with you all day? Maybe you're laid off. Maybe you're trying to work from home. Maybe you're trying to manage everything without being able to go out anywhere. It's stressful. And you get stuff home from school that you're trying to work on with your kids. And especially in the area of math, you say, I didn't learn math this way. Why am I teaching my kid this? I'm just going to go to that really quick and easy strategy that I know that worked for math. Well, I'm here to tell you that I can relate. I know it's difficult. It's hard to imagine, our children not going back to school. I live in Michigan and we've been ordered that we aren't going back to school this school year. I'm hoping that everything is a lot better and we can start up this fall. We want to be able to keep your children's skills as current as possible in the area of math. But what we want to do in this video is kind of a special video for you as parents. We did one a few weeks ago helping you understand that traditional process in one of our characters kind of behind me over here named T-Pops. And we kind of talked about how to use the right language with your child. What I want to be able to feature with you in this video is to be able to help you to understand multiplication. Maybe you have a 4th or a 5th grade child and they're asked to be doing an area model with a partial product, which you really don't know what that means, or just solve with partial products and then do it in the traditional method. And you're looking at their work going, okay, we're just going to do the traditional method. We're going to put that little placeholder in and we're going to go diagonal, honey, and here's how you just get the answer. Although that in the interim will solve the problem of getting that worksheet done, right? We don't want to teach standards to students or math concepts a mile long, meaning that they're just memorizing the procedure with a concept they don't understand. We want to teach your kids a mile deep. In the 21st century, it's all about innovation and about kids being able to apply their learning. We have less than 8% of our kids in the United States that qualify for advanced algebra. I remember algebra. I don't think I understood X very well, partly because I was never taught whole numbers the correct way to help me be more successful in algebra. So if a child doesn't learn the partial products, even though it seems like an extra silly step to us, it's going to come back later when they start to do polynomials, and there isn't a value for the number if they just memorize that procedure. And so what we want to do is kind of be here for you at SAS to help support you as a parent. And we're going to feature a video just for a second, just to take a little piece of a look to see if you can kind of relate the connection. I do a ton of parent workshops, and I can tell you in the hour that we're with families, many parents leave going, I understand math better in this hour than I did when I was growing up. The way that we were taught math necessarily with memorizing procedures wasn't always the best way. To bring up rigor and to explain things, I can just go on my phone and ask Siri what 25 times 35 was, and she'll spit out the answer for me. But if I can't apply it into what I'm doing, that's what's going to be important, right? Our students will hopefully go back this fall and we'll live past this time, but we'll be able to keep those skills kind of current with what the kids are doing and help you at home to just have a small understanding of what this looks like. So let's check out this video, see what you think. Feel free to put comments in or ask us questions. We'd love to be able to be here to support you. And remember, less is more with your kids. 2 problems, solving it more than one way with number sense is way more powerful than going through a procedural process over and over again 30 times and maybe having a small error. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hey parents, thanks so much for joining us in this quick tutorial video to help you understand a little bit about why we're not just doing that traditional method. Now, if you want to go ahead and put a clock on and time me, it's going to take me way longer to do this. But is math really about doing it fast just to get the answer in the 21st century, or is it really having place value understanding? I promise you this is going to come haunt children when they get into middle school, because using the partial products with the area model, when we make X as a value, is going to make a difference. In this traditional method, although you can get the answer, it's not going to matter. Remember, in the 21st century, it's really about understanding and explaining. The ACT, SAT state tests no longer have an A, B, C, D bubble to get the answer for this. So let's just take a minute to quickly understand the connections that while you're at home with your children, you can help make this connection. I'm going to first explain the partial products with the area model and why it will help students to have the place value understanding. We're going to use one of our characters from our Math Mites, which is the value pack, to do this. We're going to look at the value of each of these numbers, which is going to help us to understand the traditional. So if we look at the number 27 in the value pack. When the value pack separates, they show their value. So the value of 23 is 20 and 3, and the value of 27 is 20 and 7, which is essentially what you're doing in the traditional process. Understanding a procedure with a concept we don't understand versus taking a second to make sense of this. So I'm going to take this 27, I drew an area box, my tens side is larger, my one side is smaller. I'm going to decompose that 20 and the 7 here. I'm going to flip mine, and I'll show you why I like to flip the second number in my boxes. So it's going to be 20 and 3. So I'm going to put my 3 on top and my 20 on the bottom. Does 27 still equal? Yes, this still all connects. There is something called partial products without the area male, but I'm not going to confuse you with today, but I think you can make this connection as to what kids are doing. When we start off in this traditional method with our friend T-Pops, who does the traditional method, even though he's the oldest math citizen and knows how to do it the traditional way, he really understands why kids have to have the number sense to do what we're doing. So we're going to start off, I even put a number 1 box. When we're doing the traditional method, we do 7 times 3. I know that 7 times 3 is 21. So I'm going to put that 21 in here. I'm going to continue looking at what I would look at in the traditional. You and I might say 3 times 2. But is that really a 2? No, it's 3 times 20. And 3 times 20, we know, equals 60. Okay, so I have this connection here. Let's go ahead and solve it now in the traditional algorithm just to make the connection. I know that 60 plus 21 is going to give me 81. Let's go through and do it this way with the traditional. 7 times 3, I know, is 21. So I'm going to put my 1 here. I'm not going to carry a 2 because what is that 2 really worth? I'm going to put it in purple to know that it's actually worth 20. When I do my 3 times 20, I know that it's 60. Should it just be 62? Well, no, that is 20, right? It's 2 tens. So 6 times 20 is, 3 times 20 is 60, plus my 20 gives me the 80. Do you see the connection here? How when we did it with partial products, how kids could see it. I'm going to cross this off because I've already used it and go on to the second part of to get our answer here. So I'm going to go now into box 3. 20 times 7. It's not 2 times 7, it's 20 times 7. What is 20 times 7? I know that it's 140. So I know that I can put my 40 in here, but I have to be able to bring that 100 up. So I'm going to put it kind of over here in the 100 spot. At some point, kids do learn how to do the placeholder, which is fine, but as long as they understand what that value actually is. We just made the 140 as we did here. Now if I go across here to 20 times 20, it's not 2 times 2, it's actually 20 times 20. I know that 20 times 20 is 400. 20 times 20 is 400, plus my additional 100 is going to give me the 5. Let's add this up and see, does that match? 540. Yes, it does. Let's add this together. See if I still get the same answer. I'm going to add this together, and I know here I am going to end up with 621. Here I get 621. What we're trying to do here is help you to make the connection with the value of what's happening. You and I probably learned just to put a 0 in for the placeholder, but did you know why you did that? Well, because you're moving values, but like whatever, I'm just going to do whatever my teacher says and kind of follow the procedure. Remember, in the 21st century, it's not so much about getting the answer. I have a phone that I could go to and just ask Siri for the answer. It's about explaining how they're understanding it. Yes, you can feel free to put a timer on, and I know I could solve this and you could teach your kid this way faster. But if it's with a very small depth of knowledge, meaning if they just know to memorize the procedure without understanding the concept, that's where we're in trouble, especially when we get to algebra. We hope that you found our quick parent tutorial video helpful on how to help you at home to really use the ideas that are being shown, even though it's not familiar to you. We know that you and I learned that T-POPS way, and it's really hard to think about strategies differently. We hope that this video will provide you some information as to why this helps for kids to have an understanding that's a little bit deeper. We don't want to teach concepts a mile long and just cover concepts and check them off. We want to complete them a mile deep. Having your children do less is better than having them do more. We're not doing 30 problems. See if your kids can do 2 problems with multiplication, connecting this concept with the traditional. Feel free to comment on our page. Let us know how things are going or any other questions that you have. We have lots of great tutorial videos on our YouTube channel at the handle @SIS4Teachers. Thanks so much for joining us.